Hey Darlene, how you doing? Congratulations on your impending retirement. I hope you have a great next phase of your life. Um, as everyone knows who's ever worked with Darlene, she has great attention to detail, very meticulous, very organized. But I remember one time that I got a glimpse into Darlene's mystical Zen-like qualities. One time I needed to go down to San Antonio to attend a CNI meeting, I think it was, and so I was trying to economize, so I asked Darlene to get a hotel reservation for me and a flight, and I told her I didn't need to stay on at one of the fancy schmancy Riverwalk hotels where the CNI was being held. At one of those hotels, I could stay somewhere outlying, but not out at the airport, that far out. So Darlene, of course, went away and came back a few days later and said, okay, I found a hotel for you, I got a flight for you, and everything was set. So the day of the flight, my flight was delayed about an hour. I got into San Antonio, called Darlene, and she said, the hotel owner actually drove out to the airport to give you a ride into town and realized that your flight was delayed, and he was sorry, and went back to his hotel. And I had no idea that he was going to do that, so I felt bad that my flight had been delayed. But I went ahead and took a shuttle bus down to the Riverwalk, down to CNI. And then at the end of the day, after the little reception in the evening, I was ready to go back to my hotel, go to my hotel. So I got a cab, because Darlene had told me it was about 2 miles east of the Riverwalk in San Antonio. So I said, well, that's too far to walk. It's hot in San Antonio most of the year. And so I got in a cab, and I told the cab driver the hotel where I was staying, and he turned around. He said, who told you to stay there? And I was like, oh, Darlene, my administrative assistant set it up for me, And so I said, well, just go ahead and take me there. And so he took off, started the meter and took off driving east from the Riverwalk. And so sure enough, about 2 miles later, I noticed that the neighborhood was deteriorating. And it was kind of a rough area of town. So I thought, oh boy, I think I hope we pass through this before we get to the hotel. Well, we didn't. And we came to this intersection, kind of bombed out intersection, and here's this hotel. And so I'm like, well, it was like 7 o'clock at night. I was tired. I thought, well, I can't go back and find another hotel. So I just said, I trust Darlene. I'm going to go in and register. So I got out of the cab, paid the cab driver, and as he was pulling away, I remember thinking, like, this is the last helicopter out of Saigon. I remember watching the back of the cab drive away back down the street very quickly. So I walked up to what I thought was going to be the lobby to register. There's no lobby. It's one of those hotels where there's just a Mylar thing with a little place to slip your money or your credit card under. So I sort of ring a bell or something, and this wonderful Indian fellow from the Asian subcontinent comes to the window, and very, very friendly. He goes, oh, yes, Mr. Peters, and I'm sorry that I couldn't pick you up at the airport, and I apologize for, my flight being delayed, and that he had to make a run out of the airport. And so I paid for it, and I'm still kind of a little bit, he was very nice, and so I was kind of encouraged. And so I got into my room, and my room was meticulous. It was very well kept, immaculate, one of the best kept rooms I'd ever seen in my life. The bed was stupendous. I learned later that the owner had actually built the beds in the hotel. They'd gutted the hotel and redone it from scratch, and he had built the beds from scratch. It was like it was actually, Darlene, the best sleep I've had in the last 20 years. Bar none, even in my own bed. I slept like a baby that night. I still remember that wonderful sleep that I got in the hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was a wonderful experience. So I got up in the morning, and they had like a little continental breakfast somehow. Somehow I got breakfast, and then the owner of the hotel, offered to drive me back to the fancy schmancy Riverwalk Hotel where CNI was meeting. And I was like, you don't have to do that. I can call a cab. Oh, no, I'd be happy to do it. So he took me down there. On the way down there, he said, let me know. I was only there for, over one night, and I was flying back that evening. He said, let me know when you need to go to the airport. I'll come pick you up and take you to the airport. This guy was a wonderful hotelier, and the room was great. And I got to thank Darlene for her wonderful, mystical, Zen-like qualities. She knew that that hotel was going to be great, even though it was in a very rough area of town. Even though the cab driver was, incredulous that I would be staying there, it was a wonderful experience. So, Darlene, thank you very much for giving me the best sleep in my life in the last 20, 25 years, and also for being such a wonderful fellow employee and good friend. So, congratulations on your impending retirement. And you may see Daisy here on the screen, Daisy, my dog, Daisy likes to think that she's my administrative assistant here on Monkey Mountain, but I got to tell you, you're the best administrative assistant I've ever had. Thanks, Darlene. Take care.